All right. Good evening, everybody. Good evening, West Ham world. It's Wednesday night. It's a little later than usual. It's 9 o'clock Eastern time here in the U.S., and it's time for us to do our show, West Ham Wednesday night. We're glad you're here. I'll introduce the panel in a minute here. But to start off, I'll tell you. Listen, first thing I want to say very quickly. All right. If you look at your screen, you see there above Scott's head there, kind of up in the upper right hand corner, there's a StreamYard logo. You see the StreamYard logo? All right, let me tell you why the StreamYard logo is there. Okay, yeah, let me tell you why it's there. Exactly. It's because we now do not have enough money to pay StreamYard the full price for the monthly fee that it costs to run, which StreamYard is our streaming platform that we use to run the show. We can't pay the full price for StreamYard anymore, so we made a deal. Tim went and made a deal, and they said, "Well, if you put our logo up in the corner of the box during the show, we'll let you pay less for it." So, if you want to get the StreamYard off of American Hammers TV, then please feel free to visit our website, our merchandise website, ahtv.threadless.com. So threadless, as in no threads, AHTV as in American Hammers TV. Um, there's a lot of great stuff out there. I know I say this every week, but you really should check it out. Supporters group shirts from all over the world. There's West Ham stuff that's just plain West Ham stuff. There's American Hammers TV stuff. There's and you can get anything. It's one of these things where nobody they don't make it until you order it, so you can get like well, the English love when I say you can get fanny packs. They love that. That's one of their favorite things to talk about is fanny packs. But you can get the little things you carry around if you're a 50-something-year-old woman and you're gonna travel. You can get flags, you can get stickers, you can get all kinds of stuff, phone covers, you name it, and shirts and whatever. So please do check it out. It would help us a lot. Also, before I forget, I want to tell you that my friend in the Gambia, Ensa, my friend who's 17 and is running the West Ham the Gambia Youth Soccer Club, football club, I should say. Um, they have now played three games in a local tournament in the neighborhood where he lives, Farababanta in Banjul in the Gambia. They've played three games and they have drawn two and won one in this tournament. And if they win their next one, they will move on to the knockout rounds of the competition. So they are doing really well, and they exist basically because of our donations, the generosity that you've all shown in giving the money. We get yes. You know what? There may be condoms on that website, Neil. It's I would it's possible. Um, so I want to make it very clear, and I'm not sure everybody understands this. The club is called West Ham the Gambia. The West Ham the club do not support us in any way. Okay, that has not happened, and I would like for that to happen, but it seems unlikely because, frankly, they get a lot of requests like this, and they turn most of them down, and I understand that. It's called West Ham the Gambia because Ensa just loves West Ham, and he wants all these other kids to love West Ham, and he wants to give them a chance to play on a team in one of the poorest neighborhoods you can imagine. And they have come together. They have formed a team. They are playing in a tournament. They're winning. They're getting results, and it's going really well. But they need our continued support. They don't have their own kits. The the last bit of money I've sent him some of my own money as well, obviously, not just what we've raised. Last bit of money I sent was so that they could have food before their next match, so that they could have a lunch before their next game. They don't have anything, so they're relying on us completely. So anyway, if you are willing to give, I would appreciate it. If you're willing to let somebody know about this, I would appreciate it. I'm going to put the link up here, um, the GoFundMe, and we're looking at some other ways to raise money as well. But our base is still this GoFundMe. So, all right, I think that's it for me pleading about stuff here at the beginning of the show. We have a quattro. We have I almost said a quattro. No, a quartet. We have a quartet tonight. Three good red-blooded Americans and a communist from up north. No, I'm only joking. Come on, we love Canada. Canada's look at this, Eric. Look, you see, I got the Quebec flag. It's up behind the West Ham flag up there. So it's right next to you where you are. It's your neighbor, friendly neighbor, right? Quebec, Ontario. There's no rancor
No
between
beef
the
at
two of
all. No
them.
beef.
Everything's fine. Everything's fine. You're friendly. Everybody's friendly. Anyway, right next to me on the screen in Reno, Nevada is Scott. Scott, how you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. So, real quick about Canada. Canada's like our little brother who's still out drinking in the wilderness, right? Like they don't know whether they're coming or going most of the time. No one knows what the government's doing. It's they're just like that crazy little brother you have.
I have to tell you, in all honesty, I love Canada, and I love Quebec, and I love the rest of Canada too. It is definitely different from the United States in ways that I think a lot of Americans don't understand. But yeah, it's funny. It does feel like that. Um, although the odd thing is, it's fair. It's as land size, it's massive. Canada's bigger than
Yeah.
the U.S. and land is gigantic. Something like 3 or 4 of the Canadian provinces are bigger than Alaska, I think. So anyway,
Mhm.
but nobody lives there. As Eric will attest. Everybody lives right along the border, right along the bottom. So, all right, let's see if we go clockwise from the south side of Chicago. It's Phil or Steve. No, it's Phil. How you doing, Phil?
Hey, how you doing? Beautiful day.
Beautiful
Somewhat.
day. It was not a bad day today here. It was all right. We rained all day the last 2 days, which is good because we've had a super, super dry. Okay, well, he's a kid. He's a kid, and he reached out to me, and no, and I've never met him. I've never met him. I've never met him in
Come
person.
on.
I've never met him in person. He lives in West Africa. All right. He found me on Facebook, which is funny because I don't even really use Facebook anymore. But he found me on Facebook. He's a West Ham fan, so yes, he is my 17-year-old friend. But it is in the most innocent and supportive way possible. Thank you, Epic Hashtime, for that.
To US government, please do not investigate this.
No,
It's
it's
pure
investigate it all you want.
intention.
Investigate it all you want. Listen, people said to me when I first started communicating with NSETs, people said, "Oh, he's probably a scammer." He's not a scammer. He's really a 17-year-old kid who lives in the Gambia. I mean, he's definitely not a scammer. I talked to him a lot, 3 or 4 times a week. I know a lot about his life and his family, and he's very real. And I mean, it's a my boys have talked to him on the messenger, and my wife has talked to him. So anyway, it's very real, and if you could support him, that would help us a lot. Now, finally, from north of the border, it's Eric from Toronto. How you doing, Eric?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm happy to be back. It's been a few months, and hopefully West Ham gets some wins soon. I see every coach and his uncle is getting sacked recently, so I wonder how.
Yeah.
I'm not, for the record, I'm not Moyes out, but I mean,
Yeah.
if
Wait. You're not Moyes what? You're not Moyes what?
I'm not Moyes out.
Yes, thank you. He did it. He gave us. It was almost an oat. It wasn't quite, but it was good. It was good. It was good. It was good. Okay.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
no, it's cool. I'm not Moyes out, but if Tuchel can get the axe this early in the season, and I read apparently that this guy for Freiburg, who are facing tomorrow.
Yes. Story of Bucharest. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If he loses, apparently he's getting sacked too. So I mean, if the offense doesn't pick up in the league, I don't know how long they'll keep Moyes.
Well, it, here's nothing. I'm glad you brought this up. I said this last week, and I still feel this way. There's nothing I want more in sports, and very few things I would want more in life than for David Moyes to turn this club around. Not just because I want to see West Ham turn around, but because I want to see David Moyes turn the club around. I like him. I trust him. I still support him. I also think that if we don't beat Newcastle on Sunday, he's in a lot of trouble.
I mean,
I kind of do.
you're not wrong.
Well, it's not just this season. It's ever since January. Our form is really poor.
Yeah,
Now
we just spent 190 million pounds backing him, right? Like that. I don't think. I mean, Gold, Sullivan, and Brady will do the absolute unthinkable. Don't get me wrong. I mean, when we brought in Pellegrini, we backed him too and sacked him in a few months. So
he didn't get the job.
The thing is,
yeah.
And this goes back to Tuchel. I mean, they let him spend what 250 million this summer.
Yeah, but that's when your owner's a billionaire.
Yeah, a real billionaire.
Yeah.
So at this point, it's like no one is above getting the sack. No one, unless you're doing well, you're not above it.
No one's ever been above getting the sack. And I mean, you're talking
At
about
this point, it's what. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
No, it's really about what have you done for me lately. That's the world we live in. This is how we have to go about it. Look, he resurrected his career somewhat over the past few years, but
Entirely, yeah.
if you're not getting the results, then something has to change, and it's not going to be the players. It's going to be the manager, the easiest person to get rid of.
Yeah. Well, you can't get rid of the players. I mean, that just doesn't happen.
I mean,
Twinkle,
that's what I mean.
Yeah. No, I understand. But I mean, my thought is, we've spent. What did it come to? 150 million, 170 million?
190.
190.
Yeah.
I think 100.
That's it.
190.
The last time we spent that kind of money, as you said, Scott, was on Pellegrini or with Pellegrini, and that turned into a disaster. Well, we've spent all this money, and you have to ask yourself. I mean, what was the motivation for these players to join us? Cornet, Paqueta. Paqueta in particular was a huge get for us. I mean, really unexpected. He had really big clubs pursuing him. I mean, did they join in part because of David Moyes, do you think? And
I mean,
if we sack David Moyes after 7 games in the league, do those guys start to look around and say, "What's happening? What's going on?" I mean, what kind of impact does it have on the club?
I mean, y'all want
The
to go?
manager. Yeah, no, the manager is the draw. He has to be, and I think Moyes had to say, "Look, we're going to play a more open style."
Yeah.
And we're going to play the game right. And we're looking forward to doing that with you. And I'll be honest, like when I look at our team top to bottom now, I'm not, you're not looking at a cup game going, oh my goodness, who are we even we're going to have to put starters out in the cup match, right? Like we have a full second team now. And mostly, we can fill it with youth.
Yeah, we do.
We do. But to be fair, like I said it last year when I was saying we couldn't recruit top level players. Is it because the manager, right? The manager is the one that does the recruitment. He has to sell the player. The owners, to be fair, no one came to us because they were getting paid. Right?
Yeah.
Like,
our
pay structure is our pay structure. So they have
we don't
to
break it. We know we don't break it. Yeah. No,
but, I mean, how much is Paqueta on then? If he's not here for the money, I mean,
I don't know.
I think they're paying him very handsomely, but I don't think he comes here if we don't knock him and his Lyon side out on our way to the semifinals. So
I agree with that.
I think part of it is the manager. Part of it is based on how well we finished last season. Well, how far we progressed in the cup, and we finished in the top 7. So I think you have to give it to the performances and how far we got, and then the manager. So it's a combination of things. And so in that sense, we are deservingly being able to recruit some of these talented players. And City almost went. But the fact of the matter is we're really progressing as a club and we're taking those steps. However, I don't want our progress to be stopped because we get too loyal to what Moyes has done. Sometimes, and I'll equate it to the NBA. Before the Chicago Bulls had that dynasty in the 90s, we all remember they were getting to the playoffs with their coach, but they weren't able to take that next step. Then in comes Phil Jackson. Phil Jackson takes the team to the next level. It's no disrespect to the coach who came before him, but it's to acknowledge that sometimes in order to get from step B to step C, you got to change things up. And that's the reality some cases. Now, I'm not saying I don't want to believe Moyes can take us to that level, but if the situation calls for change, then we got to be willing to open up to that.
There has always been a question about how far it could take us. and we've asked that question here, and a lot of people have asked that question. Can he take us to? He's got us into Europe 2 seasons in a row, which is basically unprecedented in the history of the club. The way we've done it through the league, in other words. I think there were a couple of European seasons in the '60s when West Ham won the FA Cup and then won the Cup Winners' Cup, and then but that was a different era. Different, this was the first time West Ham had been to Europe 2 consecutive seasons through the league. It's never happened. But there's always been a question of how far he could take us. Now, my point of view was always, as long as we're hanging around the top 6, 7, 8, that's really, really good for a club like ours. And I would keep him just for the sake of stability. The problem is we're 18th right now after 6 games. And if you go back to January, the form since January is really bad. It is very poor. We've won something like 5 games out of 18 or 19. That's genuinely relegation form. I mean, I guess the question for me, and I back him. I've backed him from the first time he signed to be West Ham's manager when he came and replaced Bilic. But I mean, the question is, how bad does it have to get? I mean, go ahead.
I don't think
I kind of have been of the belief that if we didn't go to the semis in Europa, he wouldn't have made it to the summer. I think just with how bad it's been, how the fact that Antonio can't lead the line because you can't have your striker scoring only 4 times in the last 8 months. It's insane. I think the fact that Europa League was such a success allowed him to have this summer that he has.
Yeah.
But again, like you said, we're 18th in the league. It doesn't matter if we do well in this group stage if we're still 18th or 17th. We've got to get the wins. And I mean, we shouldn't have lost to Nottingham Forest. We shouldn't have lost to Chelsea, which we'll get into later.
Well, I don't
think I'm emotionally ready for that one conversation.
That's the Premier League protecting the top 6, and I believe that without irony. I really do. But you know what? That's part of the deal. In boxing, they say you got to knock out the champ, right? You can't beat the champ on points. You got to knock out the champ. It's the same idea in the Premier League. You can't leave it to the 91st minute. You know what I mean? We should have beaten Chelsea. They're not good. They got hammered today. They're just not that good right now. Leeds beat them 3-0. That's a team in Leeds that we should beat every time we play them, basically, even though we don't. But
we can look at that Chelsea. We can look at that Chelsea match. We didn't deserve to win. I'll put it that way. I'm not going to sit here and say we deserve to win that match.
Hang on, wait a minute. Hang on there. Sorry, Phil.
No,
who is this checking in from the city of brotherly love? Who gave you the link? Who let this guy in? No, let's listen. Let's have a big hand for my man John Nolan from Philadelphia. Old school AHC. He goes way back. He used to host Friday Night Lights. Man, it's been a long time, and you got a little peach fuzz going there, it looks like.
Yeah, it's just called laziness.
Well, believe me, I know. I've been lazy for about 15 years now. What's going on, Nolan? How you doing?
Nothing. I just hear all this Moyes talk. I had to jump in there. You had to come say hello.
Well. Tell us. By the way, he didn't. We conceded in the first minute of the home leg. Don't forget that, please. All right, please don't forget that. I'm a defender of Aaron Cresswell to a point. I'm sorry, Phil. I didn't mean to jump. But okay, so John, what do you think about? What's your take on Moyes? How much? What does he have to do? Is he in any trouble at all? First of all, and secondly, if he is, what does he have to do?
Fuck no, he's not in trouble. Come on, look how far we've come. We were fighting relegation, and now look at us.
You don't have to listen. Okay, I get that. Okay, I get.
But aren't we fighting
listen,
relegation right now?
That's
what happens. What happens? Listen to me seriously, John. What happens if we lose to Newcastle? What happens if we lose? Who's after Newcastle? I think it's Wolves or somebody like that. I mean, yes, these are winnable games. What if we roll into the World Cup in November in the bottom 3 or the bottom 5? I mean,
yeah.
When does it get to be too much?
I don't think that's. We've never gone long streaks with him of losing. If you look at the matches we've had so far, Unlucky at Chelsea, unlucky at Forest. Played a bit of a shambles in the Man City match, but I think we're on the up. And I hope the Chelsea match was a galvanizing point about, the VAR decision was shocking. And I hope that galvanizes the whole team in an us versus them mentality, and we're on the up. I think the running looks better. I think Declan Rice has improved significantly the last two matches.
Yeah,
I think things can only get better from here. I don't think that Moyes will allow the standards to drop. I think we've just had an unfortunate start. And while even that Brighton match felt like a bit of a must-win game at the time, there's still plenty of football left to be played. There's still plenty left. And there's a lot of teams also trying to figure out who they are this season so far. So I don't think we're that far behind. I don't think we're playing catch-up. We've got a nice run of games now, which the next, 6 to 8 are all very winnable. And if we can approach
yes, they are.
Yes,
but let me ask you this. What about the form since January, John? Now, I want to throw a caveat in here, okay? Because Eric mentioned this, and he's right. We went to European semifinal, okay? If you had that form from January to now without a European competition, that's a huge problem. When you go to European semifinal, you can excuse some poor performances in the league, I think. And so I do understand that. But even so, our league form since January is very poor. I mean, suppose we go out and lose to Newcastle on Sunday. Suppose we're starting to get rooted in that bottom three where you're more than 3 points behind. You're getting to be, you need 2 wins to get out of it. I mean, when does it start to add up? I still back Moyes personally, but you have to ask these questions, I think.
Look at what we've done, right? We've gone to a European semi-final last season. This summer is possibly the greatest transfer summer in West Ham's history.
I agree.
Possibly. We'll see how it turns out. But the ambition they've showed. So now you've got to bed in all those players. You just lost Mark Noble. Declan Rice has to find his feet as captain. Our two most impactful players in Rice and Bowen have been running their socks off all summer playing in tournament play, and they've got a World Cup coming up. I don't think we've seen the best of them yet. I think they're tired. So I think all those pieces considered, and the shitty start that we had, and the a bit of a rough hand with some of the fixtures that were dealt our way, I think we just need a little bit of patience, and things will turn around. Declan's looking back to not his best, but he's getting there. I think Jared probably needs a rest. They both need a rest.
Well, I wanted to ask you. I'm glad you brought that up. I'm going to throw this out to everybody too. First of all, I want to get to tomorrow night because obviously any European match is a big match. But I'm thinking Sunday because we're in such trouble in the league at the moment. Do you guys play Bowen on Sunday? Do you start Max Cornet? What do you do? Is Bowen in your starting 11, Scott?
He's not in mine right now. I don't think he plays tomorrow. I think Cornet is in that spot, and I think if Cornet plays well, he takes that spot from Bowen. He has to. Moyes he's stubborn, but now he's got so much talent.
To say the least.
Yeah, but there's so much talent. He can't just say, all right, I'm sticking with my guys because they're my guys. If somebody's playing better, that's the only way to light fires under people. I mean, I think that's half of our form issue from January is he's kept going with the same guys. Doesn't matter if there's a dip in play. Doesn't matter about any of that because he's still got to go with the same guys. And so everybody's just been so comfortable in their spots. And Bowen has looked good periodically, but I think tomorrow is a big day because I think some guys can steal some spots tomorrow by playing well.
I mean, we complained all last season about the small squad and how if Antonio was out of form, there was nobody to replace him. Well, that's not the case anymore. There's somebody to replace almost everybody in our squad, including Bowen. What do you think, Phil? Is Bowen in your starting 11?
For tomorrow, no. I'd give that to Cornet.
Yeah. Well, okay. So that's a good point. I mean, in my mind right now, the league match is actually bigger than the European match. Now, last season, I'd have said it differently. I'd have said the opposite. But we're in such trouble in the league right now. I know it's early. I mean, I think the question is, do you go with your best 11 tomorrow or on Sunday? In that case, which one is Bowen in? Is he in the best 11 or the not so best 11?
You put him in the best 11 because at his best, he's clearing Cornet. And I think you have to give him that bit of confidence and trust so that he can believe in himself. And sometimes it takes that little bit of trust from the coach and, that pat on the back to push him forward. And I think you give him that rest. You give Cornet the start because I think Cornet will have a field day tomorrow. I think, certain players who didn't start, get them into the squad and let them have at our opponents tomorrow.
So you'd have Cornet tomorrow and Bowen on Sunday.
Yeah, as simple as that.
All right. No, all right. That makes sense. Eric, what's your feeling?
So my comment on that is that I think I'm with everyone in that Cornet starts tomorrow. You go to the bench guys and start breaking them into the team, get them some minutes. If Cornet does have a field day, like Phil alluded to, I think you start him for the first 45 at Newcastle and then bring Bowen on maybe for the last little bit. I feel the same with Antonio. If Scamacca's healthy, you do the exact same thing where they brought where they brought Antonio on and Benny on, and they were just menaces, absolute menaces as super subs. My question is, I have two questions actually. One is because we're all not in Europe, so how do we watch the game tomorrow?
Oh,
Paramount Plus for me.
No, here in the U.S. it's on Paramount Plus. I don't know if that exists in Canada, Eric.
Yeah, we have Paramount Plus, but apparently Fubo got all the rights to it, but they don't show Conference League. They show everything but Conference League. It makes no sense.
Can you, because in the U.S. it's definitely Paramount Plus, which is a subscription service. And by the way, it's only good for European football. Everything else on it is garbage. But
hold on.
It's true. What else is on Paramount
Phil
Plus?
likes ER. Phil likes ER.
It's like CSI.
Hey. One of the greatest shows.
No, it's like CSI Des Moines. Yeah, it's like CSI Des Moines, and all those CBS procedurals are on there, and
And don't get me started on CSI Miami.
It's not even Paramount Plus is in Miami. Paramount Plus is like CSI Kansas City. It's like CSI, like the least sexy location you can imagine. It's like
Horatio Kane.
It's CSI Wichita Falls. It's terrible. But I don't know, Eric, about Canada. I'm not sure.
I'll try and figure it out. My other comment was it was more geared to what Scott said earlier about how last year we didn't have that many subs to use, or rather Moyes refused to use certain guys. There was no reason when we'd play Norwich, however you pronounce that, to not play Vlasic or Krul. Or even the young guys.
I don't think Krul was up to it, to be honest. I just don't think Krul showed anything ever that. But Vlasic, just as Wally pointed out, or Cockney Murph pointed out, Vlasic went out with in Serie A. Who's he with in Serie A on loan? I can't remember. Torino. Yeah, he was fantastic at the weekend for Torino. But you know what? It's a different league, and Premier League is generally a cut above. I'm sorry, I do think it is a cut above almost any other league in Europe. You may have at the very top Real Madrid and these clubs that are, among Bayern Munich, but once you get down past the first top 3 or 4, and it gets soft up under there. It gets soft.
I don't know if we can say. I can't say that about the Bundesliga anymore. We got dropped by the 11th best team there.
Well, they went in and beat Barcelona too. I mean, Eintracht were magnificent in that tournament. All right, they were, and I will say I agree with you, Phil. It's hard to say about Bundesliga when we lost to the 11th best team in the league. On the other hand, they had some weird, Rocky type run where nobody could beat them. I really believe if you get down into Freiburg and Kaiserslautern and whoever else, I just think I think it's week to week. It's not as difficult as playing Palace or Wolves or Leeds or and there's so much money in the Premier League now. So much money. You see the spending vastly outpacing any other league in Europe. It's ridiculous. Anyway, I don't even know why I started talking about that.
No,
Vlasic. I mean,
Vlasic.
yeah, so he's doing it in Italy. That's great. Sebastian Aller
Well-
didn't really work for us. He went off. Poor man. God bless him. I hope he's okay. He's got this. What is it? Testicular cancer, I think, that he's having to deal with. So we all wish him the best, obviously. But Aller didn't really work for us. He didn't work for our system. He went off to Ajax. He scored like 30 goals in Champions League. Sometimes it's just the way it goes. But I wouldn't necessarily say that Vlasic tearing it up in Italy means that if he'd stayed, he would have torn it up here. He didn't show those signs to me personally, although I knew he didn't have much time. Yes, Scott. Yes.
No. I was flagging a foul. Sorry.
Oh, yeah, they're watching U.S. Open Cup final. Yeah,
I don't know if I would have given that one. They were both going for it, Scott. I don't know.
MLS
It
doesn't
was
want
soft.
you to know.
It was soft. Don't get me wrong, but
MLS
the
doesn't
whole
want you to know
game
that
has
the
been
U.S. Open
soft.
Cup final is on. MLS hates the U.S. Open Cup and doesn't want you to know U.S. Open Cup final is on, but it is on.
Oh yeah, that was soft. That was mad soft. But yeah.
So Juan, John, what's your take on Bowen and Maxi Cornet?
Cornet play down the right? I thought he was down the left, didn't he?
Well,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, but you'd have to restructure the starting 11, is what I'm saying. But the greater point to me is, do you start Jared Bowen on Sunday, or do you rest him for one of the two games, or both, or neither?
I'd be here. I should play him. I think he needs a rest. I think he's tired. I think he's played too much football over the summer. So I'd probably rest him. I don't know who I'd put there though, to be honest. Maybe Fornals could do the running. Although he's played down the left as well. Benrahma. Maybe swing Antonio out to the right. Scamacca. I want my strikers to score goals. Put Scamacca in. He's got a good record in the Conference League so far. Stick him in there. Get the confidence of coming back from whatever he had.
Yeah.
The Sharks.
Is Bowen still your guy on Sunday at Newcastle, or home to Newcastle, I should say?
I just don't see who else is there to replace him. So I think he has to. And he's a threat. He's got to play his way back into form. I feel. I mean, he's got run in him. I think he's just played a bit too much football. So I don't know.
you'd have to do what? You'd have to have well, who would your front? Let's put it this way: who would your front four actually be if you weren't if Bowen weren't going to be in there? You'd have would you have, because you're going to choose among Benrahma. Hey, there she is. Hey, Embry.
You can say hi.
There she
Good
is.
girl.
Oh, look at that. Oh my goodness. Hi, baby girl. Oh, what a cutie. It's the best part of the show when she comes on. I mean, so you look at it. What you got to choose between like Benrahma, Fornals, Bowen, Cornet. Probably not going to have Lanzini in there anytime soon. But I mean, give me your front four for tomorrow and your front four for Sunday. Maybe that's a better way to do it.
Scamacca leading the line.
Yep.
I think you have to get Paqueta some minutes, so he's in there.
Yep. Paqueta, yeah, I agree. Yeah. I think you start Paqueta, don't you have to start Paqueta?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think so.
A record signing? I mean, I think we should.
Yeah. If he starts against Chelsea, he can start against anybody.
Yeah.
And then after that, it's a toss-up. I mean, I could really see playing Mickey down the right, but he's good as an impact sub as well. Benrahma's been playing pretty well, but can he get up and down?
I think the problem with Benrahma
Control the
is
ball
always,
against a team like this. We should control the ball. My only worry, and Lucas has put it in the chat there, is Downs is reportedly starting as well. So you're going to have to cover him in some regard for his inexperience. So that probably tells us
Downs?
someone else is going to play, and people that are going to run it are going to play.
yeah. Go ahead, Phil. Phil, what were you going to say? Something?
No. I saw you pulled up the comment that said Flynn Downs is starting.
I mean, Moyes says it might be a good time for him to get some playing time. So I mean that's a pretty good indicator.
It's fine with me. You need to find out what these guys are about. That's just the truth at the end of the day. And I kind of wish he did that with Crowd, but then again, when you really don't show up anything the entirety of last year, I don't blame them for not doing anything with the loan.
I thought when Kral played that when we played the reserves at our last European match, the one we lost 1-0, I think it was to Zagreb. I thought Kral was basically non-existent, and that was his audition, and he didn't show up. So he's gone, and I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. Downs,
Oh, no.
I mean, because Suchek seems to be injured at this point. He's questionable at least, and I highly doubt he'll play tomorrow as a result. So you probably
I
look
wouldn't
at Downs.
play him tomorrow.
I wouldn't play him tomorrow either. You're looking at Downs probably with Declan there to sort of, guide him and, keep him under wraps or keep him under his wing or whatever metaphor you want to use. I think the difficult thing for me right now, especially on Sunday, is what do you do with Benrahma, who's been in form, but Moyes won't track back, and Moyes doesn't like that. What do you do with Bowen, who's not been in form? I mean, it's weird how last season you could pick our starting 11 every match down to the last player, barring injury, for like 6 months. And now it's like we're spoiled for choice, but at the same time, it makes it difficult to, I don't know, it makes it difficult to come up with a what seems like an ideal starting 11, if that makes sense. What's that?
Orlando just scored.
Oh, really? Oh, that's a bummer. I wanted the other.
This was a classic example of how playing it out of the back goes wrong.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, it never goes that way. No, it never goes that way to get the youth on. No, I know. And I have a weird feeling that tomorrow is going to be tougher than we think. Stoya have struggled. Their manager is now managing for his job, apparently. That's never a good situation to walk into. I know the match is a home game, but I don't know. We should win this thing like 3-0, but it feels more like a nervy 2-1.
Well, Lee, I'm going to be honest with the guys we've brought in. I was always scared to death when an opponent gave us the ball and said, "All right, go ahead and possess."
Yes,
and
I agree.
break us down. Because,
We don't like that. We don't do that.
Yeah, but now I think Paqueta, I think Scamacca, I think Cornet, I think these guys bring a level of excitement, but also an ability to break guys down one-on-one. And I think I think Benrahma will do it, but when Benrahma makes a mistake, Benrahma just kind of is over it, loses the ball.
Yep.
All right, well, that's it. And he doesn't track it back, where these other guys will.
Yeah.
And so I honestly, I'm so happy we're back to 5 subs now, because
it's good for us now. It's going to be bad for us, but it seems good for us now.
Yeah. That was part of the reason. Now, if only Moyes will use those subs, I don't know, with some giving him enough time to make an impact.
He needs Kevin Nolan over there saying 5 subs, boss, 5 subs, because he does. I don't think he knows. I think he forgets.
He'll bring all 5 subs on at the 85th minute.
Exactly.
Right. when we're down 2-0, against Newcastle, he'll bring all 5 subs on at the same time. Yeah. And bring off the players who are in form. He's not good at substitutions. Okay, let's go ahead and say that he's not very good at it. I guess what I'm trying to come around to in a way here is who is undroppable right now from your starting 11?
Thilo.
Okay, that's a good start.
Absolutely.
Thilo's. What's funny about Thilo is he concedes a penalty, which wasn't really a penalty, but anyway, it wasn't. And then he has the own goal, which was just unfortunate. I mean, not in any way his fault. So he has these 2 sort of terrible incidents, and yet he's arguably been our best player for the last 3 or 4 games. He's that good. I'm with you on Thilo. I think Zuma has played his way back into form. I think Declan Rice is generally undroppable in any league match.
I think he's back to form. He's getting so much. The last 2 matches, we've seen such a difference in just his level of play.
Yeah, I think he's getting back to form too. The problem we have again is our fullbacks, right? I mean, Johnson is still injured. I don't think he's even training. Tufal had a little bit of a rough time against Chelsea, I thought. Cresswell, I won't blame him for our exit from Europe last season, but he's vulnerable. you know, I mean, I don't know what are your thoughts back there. This whole thing about having more players than we need is frightening and confusing to me. But I feel as though in certain positions we don't have enough.
I think the only thing I would have wanted more in the window is to get another right back or one more fullback, but that's pretty much it. But apparently, I think we're trusting Ashby. We're being more trusting of Ashby.
Yeah.
Because I think if I remember correctly, he had a move to Newcastle set up. But
he certainly did for only £2 million, and I'm really glad that fell through because I think he's a good player.
And that was mainly because of Johnson's injury, I believe.
Yes, so, I think that's right, Phil. I think the only reason we kept him was because Johnson got injured and we needed him.
So if you have Ashby for Europe, then that's fine.
The legend of West Ham Clips is here. Always an
honor.
honor. Always an honor to have Clips here. Your stuff,
West Ham Clips.
Dude,
I am not worthy.
It gets better and better and better.
I'm not worthy. I am not worthy.
Every time I watch one, I think, well, it can't get better than that next time, and the next one's always better. So, I got to say, you're doing unbelievable work, just absolutely unbelievable work. And I'm still pretty convinced you're Charlie Walsh, but that's okay.
I'm still surprised he hasn't tapped you up to be the Jesus person, Lee.
I'm waiting. I got to put some Just for Men in the beard. Jesus only lived to be 33, and I've got him by 15 years. I got 15 years on him, so I got too much gray in the beard for of course, he lived a pretty stressful life, so he might have had some gray in his beard too. But anyway. Clips. Call me, Clips. All right, call me. I'm here.
Yeah. Sorry.
Go ahead, Eric. Yeah.
Sorry. What do you guys think of Emerson? Are you guys like? Is he a must stay in the? Sorry, I missed what you said. Can you repeat what you said?
Go ahead, Phil.
No, I said I probably didn't let you finish your question. I said I'm fine with Emerson starting tomorrow.
Well, let me ask you this. I mean, is Emerson in your sort of first starting 11, your Sunday starting 11, your league starting 11?
Over Cresswell? Yes.
Is he a true left back, though? Or, yeah.
Well, he's more of a true left back than I think we've had outside of Masuaku. So, and it's not hard to be a better left back than Masuaku, to be fair.
Well, Masuaku was never a true. Masuaku to me was just a mediocre left wing who they just Moyes used him in emergency situations, and then he scored the winner against Chelsea because he just booted the ball like one of my 9-year-olds, and it went in. I think what it's been hard for me lately is to figure out who we are as a team, what our identity is. Are we 5 at the back, 4 at the back? Are we still a counterattacking team the way Moyes likes to be? Do we still defend and have 25% possession at the end of the match? I don't know, because I don't think of players like Emerson and Paqueta and Cornet as necessarily playing in a team like that, or Scamacca for that matter, as necessarily playing in a team like that. I think we could start trying to control possession going forward, doing what you were talking about, Scott. I mean, do you guys sense that there's still an imbalance in our squad as in terms of like what we actually want to be identity wise?
I think we can now set up 2 different ways for 2 different type of opponent, right? Like the opponent is going to give us the ball. We can set up in a way that we can possess the ball and we can be dangerous. And then in those matches where we're going to bunker and we're going to park the bus, we can set up that way too. I think we're set for both of those now, which to be fair, we only had one way of playing before.
Yeah. Which it's better to have, because one thing we've always said on here is we were way too predictable. We've been way too predictable for a long time. On the other hand, it meant we had an identity, if that makes sense. And now I kind of wonder if I kind of miss the predictability a little bit. Do you know what I mean? Because now I don't know what we're doing kind of week to week, and I'm not sure the players know it yet either. A lot of those purchases came late in the window, and they didn't have a preseason. They didn't have any time. There's been no gelling, as a club. They're doing that on the fly, and I think you see that a little bit. I think you see some breakdowns and some errors as a result. I don't know, Nolan. You're awfully quiet down there for somebody who barged in unannounced.
Be respectful, Lee.
Oh, don't do that. No, you know not to do that. That's never the right thing to do.
We're in transition, aren't we? So we're evolving. It's an evolution. The players that we have bought, and you can see Paqueta, Scamacca, even Cornet, they can all play one-touch football. You add that to Fornals, he can play one-touch football. Declan, he can play one-touch. So you're always going to have that threat on the counter. They all look like they've got some pace, which we've lacked in years past, which is good, which means you can still play counter. Yeah. But they're all comfortable on the ball. Scamacca's incredibly comfortable on the ball for a big man. There's a cliche. Paqueta, obviously, fantastically skilled and comfortable with the ball at his feet. Declan's comfortable with the ball at his feet. So you look around the team now and look where we could also play a possession-based game and control the ball and still have quality up front with Paqueta seeing those last, the final pass kind of things that we've kind of missed before. We didn't have any, but that's what Benrahma should have been, I think. Yeah. Is that final ball player. I don't think he's quite fulfilled that. His record was pretty good for last season of goals and assists. I'm not trying to knock him.
It was. I
don't mind Benrahma, but he's not as lethal. Well, Paqueta seems like a step up. Let me put it that way. He seems like the next level. If everything that we've heard and the stats coming out of France are going to be proven in England, it could be a step up for sure. I think you're right.
If Paqueta is as advertised, he immediately becomes our best player alongside Declan Rice. I mean, legit Brazil international record signing. To me, if he can adapt to the Premier League, he becomes a star. He could,
absolutely. And
be the next high-end type.
So, Kera, first of all, first name on the team sheet for me. He is. He's slotted right in.
He's been brilliant.
He's
I agree.
Played there forever. Like you said, the two kind of mistakes weren't really down to him.
No.
And a great stat that I read about him: the German national team, right? Flick. Ever since Flick became the coach of Germany, no other player has played more minutes under Flick in the German national team than him. Yeah. So he's one for the future. I think we've got an absolute steal there.
I do too.
My boss is German. He raves about him. We're very good. We got somebody under the radar, very cheap, and got a Diop out at the same time. Phenomenal business.
That's great business. I agree. Great business. Yep.
And that goal, which goal was it? Was the one on Chelsea? It all started with him being able to play that ball through from the back.
There was also a fantastic chance against Villa that Antonio, I think, hit the post.
Yes,
that's
the one. Yes,
played the ball out of the back, and it was a brilliant pass. We don't get that from our center backs. We've never had
that with Aguerd when he comes back.
Yes,
and suddenly we've got one-touch football all across the pitch. I mean, there should be no team that we fear, except maybe Haaland on his own. But there should be no team that we fear.
We only have to play them one more time, unless we get them in a cup. Unless we get them in a cup competition, we'll have one more match against Man City. So
I honestly think we'll have a better game against them the second time around. Paqueta definitely got that dog in him. Yes, he got that dog in him. Well, that's the thing. He got that dog in him.
You see, and I guess this is why I keep wondering about Moyes, because you see all this talent, money spent, talent in, and the question is, how long should it take to come together? How long does it take to come together? How long do we have to put it together? Do you know what I mean? We're not getting results right now. I mean, I know we got cheated by the Premier League, and I really do believe the Premier League are protecting the top six and using VAR to do it. And I'm not even saying that ironically. I'm dead serious, John. Don't smirk. I'm serious. Listen, there have been.
Think about it. It's us and Newcastle who've been getting screwed. Who got screwed over.
That's what I'm saying. Newcastle may get there eventually with their money, but they're not there yet. Premier League has a global brand, and that global brand is based on selling 4 to 6 clubs. I'm not convinced Tottenham really have that much weight, pull that much weight as far as their brand. But Manchester United, Manchester United, Liverpool, Chelsea, and Manchester City, particularly Chelsea and Liverpool, and Arsenal, by the way, are huge all over the world. They're huge in West Africa. Manchester United are huge all over Asia. I mean, this is not just in England or the United States. This is a global thing. They're protecting that brand. I'll tell you. You know what? I'm going to go off on a tiny little tangent here, but one thing that it really reminded me of was when I was years ago. I used to go to a church in Newton, Mass, and one Sunday I wore my West Ham coat. I've got a Umbro coat from the Kerbersley era, padded jacket. And the pastor of the church, it was like a 40-something guy with teenage sons, not an out of touch guy. He walks up to me and he says, "West Ham United." He says, "Is that anything like Manchester United?" I was like, not really. I mean, to you, probably yes. To me, no. But the whole point is like Manchester United to him meant European soccer. Do you know what I mean? He doesn't think and this is a guy, a little out of the range of what you're targeting for advertising, but he's got kids who at the time were in high school. This is a guy who, he doesn't think Premier League. He thinks, oh, Manchester United, that's soccer. Arsenal, Liverpool, that's, you know what I mean? That's what soccer is. And I'm telling you, the Premier League, they're protecting that. I believe it. I do. You had gambling scandals in the NBA. You know about that. There was a huge bribery scandal in Italian football about 20 years ago. This stuff happens and it's real.
Oh, I don't doubt it. But this is
I don't think
it came back fully. That's why it came back.
I don't think anybody's slipping envelopes to referees. I don't think that, John. I don't think it's clubs or I don't think it's that simple. I think it's the Premier League saying, "Hey, listen, if there's an equalizer against Chelsea, if there's an equalizer against Manchester United or Liverpool, and you can chalk it off, chalk it off."
So basically, it was the Italian scandal where it's not outright cheating. It's if there's a 50-50 call, you give it to top six.
I think the league. I think it's the league that's behind it, though, not a club or a person or gamblers. I think it's the actual Premier League that's doing it. Never can prove it.
There might be some. If we're gonna go down this conspiracy road, I love it. First of all, let's just have fun.
I didn't want to make the whole show. I've only got about 10 more minutes. I didn't want to make the whole show about it, okay? But I have always said that about half in jest, right? Oh, it's a conspiracy. I'm about 95% of the way to thinking that it's real now. I mean, this weekend was a shambles. A shambles. And it's not just referees making bad decisions. It's going to VAR and then making a bad decision.
See, here's my issue.
That's the problem.
VAR works well everywhere else but England.
That's because they're not protecting the biggest clubs. They don't use it to protect the biggest clubs. That's why.
Like, people keep misunderstanding. VAR is to deal with clear and obvious errors. Right. It is not for 50-50s. It is clear and obvious errors.
And there was nothing clear and obvious about Bowen hopping over Mendy on Saturday morning, which he could not have done any more to avoid him. He couldn't possibly have done any more to avoid him. I mean, you get to play, you get to run, you get to jump, you get to kick. He didn't even. I don't think he even touched him. Anyway, Scott, you were going to say something.
No, so I'm just very confused as to why there's not one person in every stadium that picks up the frequency where those conversations are taking place and records them.
They do
because it's all done on radio.
Yes.
It's all done on radio waves.
They do it in rugby. They do it in cricket. I watch enough cricket to know. John will probably back me up on this. When they do a review in cricket, the guy sits there in real time. He says, "Okay, show me this frame, show me that frame," and he'll tell the video reviewer exactly what he wants, and he walks you right through it. They've done the same thing.
That's definitely because of the referee. The referee unions wouldn't allow it.
Well, they've done it in rugby for 20 years. The referee calls for a video review, and you hear everything that goes back and forth. Okay, did he touch the ball down? Did he a platir in French? You know what I mean? Did he score a try? Should I award it? You hear everything in real time.
And they do it in Australia.
You can
in Australia,
do that
they are doing it.
That's what I'm saying. You could do it in England. It's
Because no,
simple
it's not that you
technology.
couldn't do it. It's that
They
they
won't do
wouldn't want it
Yeah.
simply because imagine them being held accountable in that manner. There are certain things they probably would never want people to hear.
Yeah,
that-
like for instance, oh, this is a top 6 club and they're struggling this season and they sell a lot of shirts. They sell a lot of shirts and a lot of our advertisers bank on having them look at the TV numbers in the US. I'm sorry,
right.
but it's true. Those big clubs draw the most viewers.
I want
I
to
see this
speak
every
directly
week.
to Lucas. I want to speak
Yes.
directly to Lucas here.
Yes.
Lucas, I need you to get into the stadium. You just need some ham radio stuff, man. Get it in and record it, right? And then you can blackmail the league and you can live in England forever. All right, Lucas. but I just want to hear a review once. Okay. Lucas, this is your job. You can make or break you right here.
Neil, here's the crazy thing.
He is going to
The
England
referee
for like
can
2
do
months
that.
again. So follow this guy on Twitter, LW Johnson, all right? Helltown Beer. I don't know why he calls himself this, but LW Johnson. This guy will post viewing numbers for every football match you can imagine in the United States. And he gives a lot of good perspective as well. Go and look at what this guy posts, and you will see that Manchester United, Liverpool, Chelsea, Arsenal, they draw the most viewers in the U.S. Now, often they're on NBC as opposed to other, the smaller networks, but it doesn't matter if you take a USA match versus a USA match, USA Network. I mean, those big clubs draw more viewers. They draw more viewers everywhere. They sell more shirts. They're entrenched. They're part of the brand. They're a bigger part of the brand than West Ham are, and they get treatment the way Texas and Oklahoma have had treatment for years in college football, or Nebraska years ago, or USC. The big club, the big schools have always gotten the big calls. It's the same thing. And I think it's real. But I didn't mean to talk for so long about that. John still thinks I'm crazy. You think I'm crazy, right, John?
No, I think it could be real. I just don't know whether it's
Make it 3.
conspicuous or whether it's inconspicuous. I don't know whether it's, implicit bias or is it unconscious bias? Is it that you're in Man United Stadium and you've got 70,000 people yelling at you? Is it because the majority of Premier League referees are from the northwest of England and have some attachment to those places at Man United and get more penalties than anywhere else?
That's true. But you know what, though?
It
Here's
could
the
be a
thing.
number of things. It could be because it's also a very incestuous industry where everybody knows industry. Everybody knows everybody in the industry, I imagine, at those levels. And on subconscious level, they probably do know that that's what drives the brand. And so do you even need somebody telling you that you've got to protect these teams?
You may not. You may not, because the officials, everybody involved with the Premier League relies on the Premier League making money in order to have a job, a career. If it's a referee on his own making a bad decision, I do attribute a lot of that to 80,000 fans or 50,000 fans in the stadium. I do think and The Economist even did a study during the pandemic when the games were being played in empty stadiums, and it showed that the referees' performances were consistently better in empty stadiums because they didn't have a home crowd coming down on them. All right. I think that's a very legitimate thing. Now, the problem is VAR was supposed to eliminate all that. All right. VAR was supposed to be this objective kind of separate check on the referee. So if he did freak out, VAR could say, "Oh, wait, no, you got this wrong. We're going to gently correct you, Mr. Referee, and we're going to get this call right." The problem is that's not happening. It's just the opposite. They're taking good goals and they're chalking them off.
You got the same people making the decisions.
And
You put shit in, you get shit out. I mean,
that's
it's going to
exactly what I'm saying. It's not the technology; it's the people operating it, and the people operating it are operating it in a way that favors the big clubs. Villa had a goal disallowed that was onside. Newcastle had a goal disallowed that should have counted. We had a goal disallowed. This is all in one day or one weekend.
The refereeing in and of itself has just gotten worse. The guys who are refereeing are the guys that couldn't play the game, right?
Yeah.
So they couldn't play at a young age. So then they started refereeing. And so a lot of them don't understand the concept of, the way the game's played. But also, like, once VAR came in, all those guys got lazy. I think the linos are like when you see the linos and they're doing the cup games where there's no VAR, they're less than 50%. And it's unimagible to me.
I agree with your second point, Scott. I think they have got lazy because they're relying on the fact that they can go back and look at it to do stuff. I don't understand they don't know how people move, how footballers move, how how the game flows. When every single fan in the country understands that, and at some level they were fans. At some level they played the game or
they had
to go and become a referee. Like I don't think that referees don't have an understanding of like bodily physics. Something's going wrong there. Something is absolutely going wrong there where they're looking at stuff and going, "Oh, that's a foul." Or like Bowen on Mendy, that's a foul. Like in what world? There's not a single person.
That's what I'm saying, John.
Went,
it's when you go to if the referee makes a decision on the spot. All right, that's bad enough. I still think there was a possibility that the league was influencing them there, but forget about that. I will give referees because I know it's a tough job. I've had friends who've done it. I actually knew a guy who did it at a relatively high level. Like he was the professional women's league here in the U.S. He reached that level in terms of where he could ref officially. He was almost at MLS level, which I know was really still bad, but I know it's a hard job, and he talked a lot about how difficult it was. So I get that. The problem is VAR, the use of VAR, which was supposed to solve all these problems, correct all these errors, and instead they're actually going through. They disallowed our goal. All right, they didn't say we're upholding the call of a foul. Do you see what I mean? They actually went and found something that didn't exist to disallow the goal. That, to me, is just absolute corruption.
Oh, we've had some stinkers. Who was oh God, what was his name again? The general that was our centre back.
Balbuena.
The one where he went through that was at Chelsea as well, where he kicked the ball and kicked the player and they sent him off. I mean, we've had some real stinkers.
We've had some stinkers, and I'm telling you, when it comes to VAR making these decisions, they're overturning things that are obviously, and they're overturning things. That's the other thing. It's not like they're saying, "Oh well, call stands as called." No. They're going back and saying, "No, we're flipping this for no reason." Anyway, I've been angry about this all week, and I don't really want to keep talking about it because it's going to make me angrier, and I got to go to bed eventually. All right, so I'm not doing a marathon tonight, John. No kidding. We're going to wrap up in a few minutes. I know John laughs. He knows me. He's been on these 3-hour things before. Okay, I would like for us, please, if you would, to give us your picks for tomorrow and for Sunday. We don't have any midweek next week, do we?
Yeah.
Before next Wednesday? No.
No, we play next Thursday.
Next Thursday. Okay. Thursday, obviously, yeah, but not before our next show, I mean.
Yeah.
Because the last show we did, I totally forgot we had Spurs on that day, and then I couldn't do a show last week. But anyway, it was terrible. All right, so give me your picks if you would for tomorrow and for Sunday, and maybe give me an idea. You don't have to give a starting 11. Give me an idea of who you think we see out there. Maybe who performs in each game. Just a couple of guys you think might be standouts. Scott, you want to start?
Yeah, sure. I think we go 3-0 tomorrow. I just think that a lot of the new boys are in. I think that Paqueta earns a starting role, especially with Souček being out. I think Paqueta takes that starting role away. And then on Sunday, we beat Newcastle 2-1.
From your lips to God's ears, my friend.
And on a personal note, that's the Mead House Derby, as my wife supports Newcastle.
Oh, okay.
So she's disagreeing with me vocally right now as I tell you my predicted score.
Okay, let me ask you this, Scott. If she were to listen to a Geordie talk for 5 minutes, would she be able to understand a single word he was saying? Because
not a lick.
No, because I can't. I can tell you right now, you can throw one of those Glaswegians at me, and I get more from the Scottish guy than I do from these Newcastle guys who I don't know what they're doing. Simple, Anyway, thank you. I appreciate that. Phil, what do you think happens?
I have 2-0 tomorrow, and I have 2-1 on Sunday both to us. I think Scamacca goes ahead and gets a goal on Sunday. And I'm going to say you're going to get a surprisingly good performance from Flynn tomorrow. I think he's gonna.
I hope so. I hope
want to
so.
believe he's gonna have a bit of a good performance.
I have high hopes for him, and I hope so. Yeah.
Shock us all. Showed that he was worth the 12 million paid.
Yep.
And go from there.
That's a good call. I like that. Juan Antonio, Jean Antoine. Your name is great for throwing into Romance languages.
Thank you.
Juan Antonio is my favorite, though. Anyway, John, what do you think?
My wife prefers that name too.
Does she really?
Yeah, maybe.
On certain nights, under certain circumstances.
Yeah. 2 home games in a row. Time to get our season going and knock them both away with wins. 3-0 tomorrow, hopefully. Skamaka, Benrahma. I have a feeling Bowen will play, even though I don't want him to. Hopefully get him off the score sheet as well.
Yeah.
Get him on the score sheet, I should say.
Yeah.
And Newcastle, I'm not afraid of them, and we shouldn't be.
No, we shouldn't be. Not at home, especially.
We've
Yeah.
thrown some money around, but I don't know if they got anybody of amazing quality. They're going to work. It's Eddie Howe's team. So
I've seen rumors that Saint Maximin, whatever his name is, may not be available too, which would be.
Yeah, there were 3 players that weren't at training today. I saw somebody tweet about that.
Yeah.
That could be key. So hopefully 2-0. Hopefully 2-0 against Newcastle. I'd like to see Skamaka again if he's back to 100% up top, and you can always bring Mickey in towards the end when they're all tired anyway. So,
do you believe he had a stomach bug, or you think he had an injury?
I think he had the shits.
Yeah, maybe. It will knock you out.
Maybe
will knock
COVID. So.
Oh, maybe that's true. I mean, listen, if you get the food poisoning or stuff, that will knock you out for.
It could have been COVID, right? What are we? 10 days? About 10 days.
Yeah,
It's only 5 now, isn't it? That you have to quarantine.
Well,
no, but he himself
is
is
for 5 after that. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, that's over here. Over there, you can go in. But...
Yeah, it might have been. That's true. It might have been COVID. It's possible. All right, Eric, what do you think?
Okay, so
by the way, we're going to need your answer in English and French because you're in Canada.
French, I have to relearn. I haven't said in almost 20 years. But
it's
brutal. Canadian, I'll try and say out a couple times. And,
I'm just giving you a hard time. I'm
about.
just giving you a hard time. I'm just joking. Like I joke about John about living in Philadelphia.
Yeah. So I think tomorrow we're gonna run them over. It's gonna be 5-0. Skamaka hat trick. Lanzini and Benny with the 2 other goals for 5.
Lanzini, yeah, I think Lanzini gets some time tomorrow.
I think Lanzini plays tomorrow. I'd set up so that if we do 4-2-3-1, Skamaka up top. Then you have Benny and Cornet on the wings. You have Lanzini up the middle. Downs and Rice as the defensive midfielders. And then Ashby, Carrier, or Thilo, as we were calling him.
Thilo, yep.
I think we might even see. Is Dawson ready to come back yet or no?
He was in training today, but I don't know that he's ready to come back.
So
I don't think we'll see him in either match personally.
Maybe Ogbonna, and then Emerson on the other wing, and then turns to Newcastle. I think we'll beat them 3-1. I just think that if anyone's going to get a shutout, it'll be Areola, because I think Fabianski is always known to give up the stinker here and there. Which
we didn't even get into that, but I would man, I'd get Areola. I wouldn't even get Fab on the pitch right now, quite frankly. But he'll play on Sunday. He will. But that I guess would be. I mean, this is going back an hour now, but when we were talking about Moyes potentially leaving and then John joining us, how long do you think the leash will be for Fab before they turn to Areola? It'll be endless because for whatever reason Moyes just loves him and plays him no matter what. I that's a huge frustration with me with Moyes is he gives Fab way too much of a leash. There's not even a leash. He just lets him roam around in the yard, and it's terrible. Yeah. Free the yeah. I'm with you. We all like to see Areola out in the open. You know, everybody. I think everybody enjoys it. I think everybody enjoys that. Everybody enjoys. But he stands proudly. And anyway, I don't know.
I take
really can't go any further.
I take Randolph on the wing if they keep playing two goalies on the bench. So. Sorry, that was bad. That was a terrible joke.
Yeah, I think we have to turn a corner soon. And if David Moyes is going to turn a corner for us, it's going to happen like this week or next. And I hope it's this week. I have a feeling tomorrow is going to be a nervy 2-1. I think we'll win. I think it'd be like a nervy 2-1. I really do. We should demolish them. It could go one of two ways because listen, their manager's playing for his job. Either they back him and love him and would run through a brick wall for him, or they do not care. and he's lost the room and they fall apart. Do you know what I mean? So it's either a nervy 2-1 or it's like a 5-0 and it's easy. And I'm hoping it's a 5-0. But I don't know. I have a feeling we're not there yet. On Sunday, that's as much of a must-win match as we've had since we were in real relegation trouble after the pandemic restart a couple of years ago. It's a genuine must-win in my. I think everybody knows it. I think Moyes knows it. I hate to say this because I'm almost always wrong when I do this, but I actually think we'll win on Sunday. I really do. I think it's. I think this team is too good not to, especially if Newcastle have these players out. Especially, God, if Callum Wilson's out. Oh, I don't root for guys to get injured, okay, but if he misses the team bus or something, that'd be great because he's deadly against us usually. I think we pick up 3 points in each competition. I think we absolutely have to. If we don't, then we're going to have a tense Wednesday night next week. A tense Wednesday night next week. So, anyway, all right. I promised you an hour. It's been an hour and 12 minutes. That's not too bad. Do you guys want to throw anything in before we go?
Everyone, enjoy the rest of your week. Be safe. Go Irons.
Come on, you Irons.
Just since our friend Mr. West Ham Clips is here today, we'll be hoping for under 5 touches against the woodwork over the course of 2 games.
Yeah. Well, you got all the various different Tibbles now. There's going to be what's a Romanian Tibbles? I don't even know. I can't even come up with a good. It's not my job to do it. He'll come up with a good.
Tabukas? I don't know.
What's like
Tabukas?
I can't even think Tiblanici or something like that. Maybe remember Nadia Comaneci when she was a gymnast like in the 70s. Tiblanici, maybe. I don't know anything about Romania. I've never been there. My wife's been there.
Pukas? I don't know.
Yeah.
Tabukas? I don't know. I'm gonna try to make that stick. I don't know.
So we're gonna have various cats getting slapped and hey Fo. And hopefully not many posts getting dinged, although I do enjoy when that astronaut shows up. And I like when stuff floats past the astronaut, like somebody's head or something floats past the astronaut. Anyway, I'm just throwing this out there for you, Clips. Yes, go ahead.
Sorry, every time someone hits the post now for the last 3 years or however long Clips has been on, I always pray for the cats afterwards.
Well, you know who we're going to get? We're going to get the Italian guy too. What's his name? Help me, guys. The Italian commentator.
Filippo.
Filippo. Yeah, I love him. He's fantastic. He even got into the match in the Europa League last season, if you guys remember, during the pitch.
Yeah.
He was the guy on the pitch. Play me through. It's brilliant. Anyway.
I like that guy, Rita Porter or whatever. He's pretty funny too.
Yeah. No, listen. Yeah. No, the whole thing. Listen, there's nobody else like West Ham Clips because he is, to me, the epitome of the West Ham fan. If nothing else, we can laugh and we can laugh at ourselves. And, other clubs can't handle that. They can't do it, but we can do it. So anyway, Scott in Reno, Phil in the fantastic city of Chicago, John in the adequate city of Philadelphia, and
I don't even live there anymore, Lee.
I'm only giving you. I know. Philadelphia is actually it's great. I have reasons now to love Philadelphia that I didn't have a few years ago. So, and in the largest city in Canada, Toronto, where there's actually been a longer trophy drought than West Ham have.
Yeah.
That's only in the 1967. Eric, thank you guys for joining me. We will see you all next week. I'm sure there'll be Chris and Irish Tommy on tomorrow afternoon, and probably again on Sunday. It'll be Sunday morning Eastern time. I think the game's probably at 9 a.m. Eastern, and so they'd be on around 11 or 12, something like that. Anyway, keep your little bell on so you know when we're on. You can watch us. And to everybody in the chat room, fantastic comments. Thank you very much. And come on, you Irons.
Wow.
Irons.